Your hosts are The Great Order and No White Guilt. And this is the after party on Independence Day weekend. The crown winner of last week is Jess Horst, financially gifting $75. God bless you, dear woman. An amazing lady and an amazing family. Thank you so much. Congratulations. In second place was the one and only, somehow able to live several minutes in the future, Final Blossom, financially gifting $25, already saying in my ear, you're welcome. Well, congratulations and thank you, Final Blossom. Financially gift on Entropy at a cost of 15% to you, where you can also watch the streams and ask and vote on questions. You can also financially gift on Cash App, which is free to use. Jared and I evenly share the financial gifts with our guests on the after party. Now, today is our Independence Day special, and we, as all of Western kind, are declaring our independence from Antiwhiteism. So today, we have assembled a mighty crew of champions to entertain and regale you all, and we will bring them on in just a moment. First, or not first, but overall, over the course of the day, we have Hirith, Jeff Winston, ForNull, Sarah Dye, and the one and only, you already see him on your screen, Tim, the one Murdock, Mr. George. Happy Independence Day from Antiwhiteism, brother. And how are you? Let's get into the show.
Yeah, as I said, we had a last-minute schedule change, and that's not to say that Tim is on the bench. Actually, it was funny. I'll talk to Hiraeth about this when she's on. I was doing some work, and I was listening to Hiraeth on Tim's show on D-Live last night, and Hiraeth innocently asked Tim, "Oh, are you on? Are you on the after party tomorrow?" "I'm going to the after party." Well, she doesn't sound like that, but you know, that's just my general female impersonation. It could have been Hiraeth, it could have been anyone. And Tim's like, no, those bastards didn't invite me. No, he didn't say that. Tim knows he's been on our specials before. We couldn't have this one be a 5-hour one. We had to keep it tight. So we asked a few people, just trying to keep it small. And it turned out we had a last minute cancellation. Oh, we got a few hours heads up. It was an unforeseen circumstance, so no foul. But essentially, I said, well, Jason and I can hang out and talk with all of you for a little while. Of course, that wouldn't have been so bad. But I said, wouldn't it be funny if I just asked Tim? Because Hiraeth said it yesterday. She kind of meme magicked it in. So here we are. Tim, how are you? What is going on in your world? Tell us what you're up to and how you and your family like to celebrate Independence Day and anything else you may want to bring up.
Well, you know, we used to always be at a very famous beach in the South for Independence Day growing up, actually. But not this year. This year, actually, I haven't been there in several years. This year, I am taking it easy. Been doing a lot of different family stuff, dealing with deaths in the family and other things like that happened in the past year. And trying to tie up all kinds of loose ends and actually just resting. I'm resting. And it's nice that you guys have, the audience already knows about my new booking agent, Hiraeth. She's a very effective booking agent.
She's going to be
I
busy.
need one of those too.
She's going to be busy.
She's going to be
now
busy.
The WACK spokesperson she'll tell us about later. So
she did a fantastic job. I had on White Art Collective last night. I've had them on my list. I talked to you guys about getting their information and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it was Jarrett or Jason, but I got the information. I've been meaning to contact them, but I contact them, and their main rabbit in charge said, Hiraeth is our spokesperson. I said, okay, get me in touch with Hiraeth. And I'd heard her music before. I was actually blown away. Main rabbit in charge. I was actually blown away that just like a couple years ago, two and a half years ago, she was on a USB Yeti microphone, and here she is now on White Art Collective. Helped her go that far. Obviously, she had a great deal of talent to begin with, but
yeah,
you can't do much if you don't have any talent. But I thought she'd been like singing for a decade or more, 20 years or something like that, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, now that she's the spokesperson and apparently your booking agent, hopefully she'll still be able to crank out as much music.
Oh, I have a feeling she'll be even cranking out more music.
It's tough to wear several hats. Well, it's
No.
good you're relaxing.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's much needed on a weekend like this.
Well, actually, what I'm doing is I've got a weed. I'm doing yard work.
Not weed, but a weed.
I got a weed of like
Got
a
to
whole entire
weed.
garden
Got to
area.
weed.
Have
Yeah.
to weed. But anyways,
weed.
yeah, I don't know, but I got to get caught up on yard work, and I got clean windows, I think. But that I'm doing yard work and that type of thing, housework.
That's so American.
So white.
So American.
so white.
You're that guy. You're that guy. So what else? I don't know what to ask. This is just a hangout.
Well, talking about the yard, I have a trail camera in the yard, and I should share some of the photographs that it ends up capturing. We had a it was possum. What was it? 2 nights ago, and then it showed up, and a cat that looks like it is, because the bushes where I've positioned the trail camera is kind of hiding, and the area I thought would be perfect to see critters coming and going. And it's a black cat, and it looks like an absolute panther, because you can't tell how its size exactly. But of course, raccoons, foxes, and everything under the sun. But yeah, it's a very white thing to do, to get out into the yard. Really communing with nature is something. I guess, I don't know. I mean, I guess in Tim's brilliance, you just stepped into the subject matter of our natural biospiritual, this simpatico nature, this harmony with nature, using the word 2 different ways there.
I thought you were gonna tell us about some giant anti-white buffalo you found on your trail cam, or an anti-white that could pass for a buffalo stalking your house. I thought you were going to say something funny like that, but it's okay. I'm glad it's only cats.
Well, we were going to get to the buffalo. No.
Cats that look like panthers.
We're going to get to the buffalo. No, but I mean, most Americans, not most, I guess, a lot of Americans get out today, and they're outside. They're celebrating on this 4th of July Independence Day weekend. But I guess I will toss out what I was saying at the very beginning when I brought us into the program today, and that is America. And of course, you have to ask CNN to make sure this is true. But America, as our founding fathers created it, no longer exists. So that's, I guess, an opinion, someone else's opinion, certainly not the channel owner's opinion. I'm just sharing with you what someone else said.
You put that possibly at about 1913 would be a possible date that possible
date. Radical change of the type of government at 1865, and then a complete end 1913. And so Independence Day, what does it mean now? I guess is when I asked Tim, I was thinking that for all of Western kind, it's the Declaration of Independence from Antiwhiteism, because it's what we have to do in our own hearts if we're going to have any success as families, as communities, and as a people moving down the road. The floor is yours, Tim.
I definitely agree with you. We need to declare our independence from this anti-white system once and for all. I think now is a good time as any. Most of us have done it years ago, but we can always redo that again today, along with everybody else.
We could renew our vows every Independence Day, the Americans at least, like a wedding anniversary.
Exactly.
Oh. How does that sound?
It sounds like a plan to me.
Renew our vows to be independent of all that BS. I want to know if anyone's on Odysee. I'm still getting used to the Jason. I went over to your Odysee link. Of course, it's linked from the Watch Live Now page on our shared site, the afterparty.tv. And Odysee is very promising, but I feel like there's still a few kinks in their streaming. So I said hello over there. If anyone's over there, give me a hello. I try to make sure I'm in the other chats, because we like to tell people, we have to get on everywhere, not just be relying on YouTube. But it is really still, YouTube is the center of gravity, is where people are used to going. So I'm there.
Yeah. I started a new YouTube channel, actually. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'm keeping my old one up and running barely, but Odysee has a lot of promise. It works very well. It's very easy to upload, but it does have some kinks, and it's just going to be a process working all that stuff out. It's just all a process. I think it has the best chance as far as startups go that work real good, that look real good, of doing very great numbers. They got a new super chat system coming out where you're going to be able to give money directly. And that's kind of what you need to get streamers, other large streamers on there. Right. They need to have a system other than their cryptocurrency, which is fine for some, but others aren't going to like that. So they need to do things like that. It seems like they're going in the right direction.
Yeah, we wish them well. We definitely wish them well. And we know behind the scenes we have, just like we were talking about White Art Collective a few minutes ago. I know that there are people, I don't like to say too much about things before they happen. I'm not directly involved in any of this, but I do know that there are people working on more tech kind of things. And I believe in people enough. I believe in our people enough where I'm comfortable enough mentioning that very fact, because I know that someone somewhere will figure something out. I have that much faith in us, as you all should, as I know you do. So I know that kind of thing is being worked on as well.
Yeah, my plan is just to take over Google, Alphabet, whatever it's called, and kick out all the anti-whites, and then our problems are solved. I don't have to reinvent something, just take things back.
That's a good plan too. I don't think you should talk about that publicly, maybe. But
well, I don't know. I mean, take it over legally. Do a legal leverage buyout or something. I don't know. Who knows what could happen one morning? How else are you going to take it over? I'm not going to take it over any other way.
Yeah. Well, we have a few.
I don't know what could happen that would allow us to engage in a hostile takeover for a large company, but you never know. It happens all the time. It's happened in the past. It can happen in the future. I'm just putting things out there. You never know.
I know. Just got out my checkbook so that we can.
You never know.
Let me tell you, I'm this close to just buying them out over there at Google. What do you think, Tim, about all of the I'm not going to say rumors, but I guess, again, CNN folks, but with all of the intelligence agencies revved up, fired up, and loosed on the American as well as the foreign populations, those who care about white well-being around the world, or white sympathetic around the world explicitly. We had, this was actually a little older news, but still relevant, because I didn't realize it was the case until just a couple weeks ago. The Nordic Frontier Group is declared a terrorist group by the United States Congress just so many months ago. So that association with anybody from that organization is tantamount to associating with Al Qaeda or any of these other groups. What do you think about that and this effort to what appears to be an effort to divide those who care about white well-being around the world?
Well, this is what happens when empires are falling back into their base or collapsing in some way, shape, manner, or form. Vladimir Putin announced that the American empire was over, and I think we're close to some type of outlier that will probably, I don't know what it could be, but probably going to deal them some type of blow. And that's where it becomes dangerous for us, because they're going to declare every single group we can think of. I'm surprised they haven't done more. I'm surprised it wasn't just the Nordic Frontier. Who knows who they'll declare terrorist groups next? It's kind of like that's the next stage. They declared everyone hate groups, so why not terrorist groups? But the challenge for them now is you have 100 million Americans are declaring terrorists. They're declaring everyone white that disagrees with them terrorists. So that's the challenge now. It's just a matter of which one of these groups they'll target. I think they're more afraid of the patriot stuff, like the malicious stuff right now, simply because by numbers, there's a ton of them. They train with weapons. If any, our side really has to just be smart, understand we're behind enemy lines, politically speaking, and be smart. And things can happen to anyone on any given day. Bad things happen to good people every day, but I mean, you just don't want to go out of your way looking for it. you know.
Right. Well, I mean, this is part of the thing. I guess part of what makes the subject so challenging when it comes to this declaring groups that are explicitly white, sympathetic around the world to be terrorist groups, and therefore any Americans communicating with them to be tantamount to somebody who is conspiring with Al Qaeda. Is that you have good people, you know good people in these organizations. You anticipate you will know good people in these. Or I mean, for example, tomorrow, not tomorrow, because of course they're all going to be taking off, but this coming week or so, or the week after, Congress could declare Patriotic Alternative to be a terrorist organization. And we know a great many wonderful people in PA, and Sam and Laura and their new baby on the way. Wonderful people. What then do we do? I mean, the reality is that if you're talking with somebody and you associate with them and you go on their shows or what, and now all of a sudden the federal government of the United States says, well, that's a terrorist organization. How are we supposed to respond to that? I mean, I guess we have to lawyer up. I mean, so many of us have been in contact with our brothers and sisters around the world that it might be that we end up having to go the direction that we chose just to begin with as part of the matrix for the practice of going free, that there isn't a central organization to declare a terrorist group and those who associate with it a terrorist group. I mean, could you imagine folks who are listening now who have been in contact with people in the Nordic frontier? Now they have to wonder, well, if I follow up with that email, am I going to be investigated as though I am conspiring with Al Qaeda?
Well, I know near me after 9/11, they had declared various different charities and other maybe not so charitable groups out of the Middle East. They declared them all terrorist organizations, and they turned Dearborn, Michigan upside down. And a lot of people left the country, which isn't an option for us, obviously. And quite a number had assets taken. I just don't know what the truth of the whole deal was, but they use these laws and they abuse them. And that's what they're kind of designed to do. You target a political enemy, and it may be a real domestic terrorist group, and it may be other political groups that you're targeting politically mixed in. And that's what you do. And it just becomes a roll of the dice. I just see what they do. I would guess they would have quite a number of targets. There's just so many of these groups that they've labeled terrorist. I mean, they're if you really look at who they're calling white sympathetic, it's a very large group compared to what it was 10 years ago. And I think it becomes just, why did they pull the card of Nordic Frontier and not one of the other Swedish resistance groups? There's several out there. It's kind of a random thing. There's Hungarian nationalist groups. There's Aussie, Austrian nationalist groups. You could name so many groups that they could pull the cards of. Why these groups and not others? It just becomes a random thing. I don't know.
I got to tell you, there is and I was aware of this, there is a list that the federal government of the United States, I guess, put out that these are and declared these are the terrorist groups. And I'm just seeing, though, I did not know this was the case. Patriot Front was on the list of terrorist groups in the United States. So that is bone chilling. Because there are quite a few people out there who either are in that organization or who talk with them, associate with them. And that's a group that the United States government has declared a terrorist group. I'll follow up on that and see exactly how they worded it. But when they do that kind of thing, it is the end. That's the full force of the Patriot Act, right, Tim?
Well, definitely. That's kind of the whole idea. The whole idea of them passing the Patriot Act was that they were going to confront right-wing militias and other right-wing elements that they want to deal with. And that's one way to deal with them, declare them terrorists and take everything they have and throw them in jail. But you're pretty much at the end when you do that to your founding stock. And especially with that founding stock is still a vast majority of citizens. You've got some challenges with this. I mean, they could get to me, they could get to anyone they wanted to get to, but ultimately, you're running up against the wall. And I mean, just today, Japan. This actually surprised me. We had a bunch of surprise war porn come out today. Japan said that they would not be surprised, and this kind of blew me away. That they put Russia in this. That if Russia and China did a surprise attack against Hawaii, which was kind of a wild statement from Japan.
Yeah.
I don't know why
That
Japan would say that, but like another Pearl Harbor type of thing. And I think probably would be more on the Chinese side. And then there's all this stuff coming out. For instance, on the India-Chinese border, which is a border that has flared up continuously for many years, there is a troop buildup from 15,000 on the Chinese and Indian side, matched to 50,000 over the past 2 months. So you have some very interesting war porn coming out right now, and I don't know what to make of it. But when you're dealing with empires that everyone's ticked off at, who knows what's going to happen? We just have to survive it and be smart. We can't predict what these maniacs do. But I mean, don't join groups, basically. But what we're dealing with in a lot of these times, you're not dealing necessarily with groups per se. You're dealing with individuals, social clubs, if you will, that meet. And so I don't know what you do with how can you label a patriotic? They're not paying dues at Patriotic Alternative or anything like that I know of, are they?
No, I don't believe
It's a social club. There are a variety of different social clubs out there on our side. I would keep them as private as possible, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. All the more reason as across America this weekend, they wave their stars and stripes and they race around their lawns with a lawnmower, as Tim and I will no doubt be doing this weekend. As they do that, those sitting in the once hallowed halls, now latrines, ornate latrines, are busily passing more and more legislation, and they don't even need any more. It's just because they're so dumb. They could just use the laws already on the books to, as Tim points out, come after the founding stock of this country and try to prevent what is inevitably going to be our desire, which is to recapture our destiny from the thieves who have stolen our very lives from us, even though our hearts still beat in our chests. I don't know. How long do we have, Tim? If we don't, we could get your...
Well, it's a party. I mean, you're welcome to overlap.
There you go.
But musician ForNull, who is part of the White Art Collective, which we began talking about with Tim when he first came on, is on deck and about to join us. But if you guys want to, you're welcome to stay for a few minutes, Tim, and talk to Mr. ForNull. Or if you need to go, then we definitely appreciate the time you've given us.
This was a last minute thing for me. I've got to take off. I am live tomorrow at 5:30, and I'll talk more about this war porn. And we could talk about this stuff all night, but I do have to go. I did make a last minute move to get on this show because I like coming on to see Jared George and Mr. No White Guilt.
We appreciate it.
And anything I can do to help out, I always will. But you need to watch out on those trail cams, Jason.
I will. I'm going to keep a look at them. See if Carlin ever shows up.
Oh, no.
I wouldn't be surprised. Out in the dark. Of course, who knows what Carlin I'm talking about. Folks, I will be on with Tim on the 17th.
Yes, beyond July 17th. You guys stay tuned. And we've got a lot of episodes coming up. We're live tomorrow at 5:30 with Mr. Fash Gordon, the first of the Fash Gordons from way back in the day. But you guys can tune in tomorrow at 5:30. I'll let Mr. ForNull take the show. And you guys cheers and have a wonderful 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July to you, brother. Thank you for coming on.
Cheers.
Thank you. We'll have his links on our page on on the afterparty.tv and thegreatorder.com when the show is up. But people are asking about Tim. Yeah, Tim is a veteran. He's got shows on DLive, and he has his own site with some paywall content as well, White Rabbit. So we'll get you all that information. But thank you, Tim.
Let me bring on the one and only. This man, before I let him show up on the screen, I want to say that this cannot thank this guy enough for everything that he's done in service to white well-being. A true champion, a true multi-talented, extraordinarily intelligent and industrious guy who's taken charge of his life and his family, a wonderful human being as well. He's the one and only, ladies and gentlemen, ForNull. And he joins us. Hello, brother.
Hey, Promethean Hails.
Promethean Hails to you. God, that is fantastic with the flag flying in the background.
You like that?
That is awesome.
Cool. Yes. Well, I almost didn't make it because I forgot that I gave my son my audio device that I use for streams. I can't use the thing I normally use for my live streams because that doesn't work on StreamYard. So literally like 10 minutes ago, I was testing on Twitch streaming to see if this was going to work or not. I had to give up what I was trying, and I'm just using my webcam mic. So sorry if it sounds kind of crappy.
No,
but hey,
great,
everybody.
Man.
Happy.
No, you're good.
Happy Independence Day 4-day weekend, I guess, or
That's super. Well, how's your day been so far, brother?
It's going good. Yep. Just wrapping up the daily grind part of my day and moving on to the weekend. So, yep, going good.
Nice. Nice. I was going to say what Jason said. You always have a clever setup with your audio and video. You're good with the tech stuff. So perfect for Independence Day weekend.
Yes.
And the fact that you almost didn't make it, though, it seems to be a theme. We were having some issues before the show. I've made some goofs. It's I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's in the air today, but it kind of goes with the theme. But the fact that you're here, and we see you and hear you loud and clear,
awesome.
Is a beautiful thing.
It's great to be here.
Yeah, and like I said to Tim, this is just a very casual hangout. We're just seeing what the chat's talking about. You're welcome to share any thoughts you have, be they lighthearted or be they a little more on the serious side about Independence Day weekend and how you celebrate it. And I'll second what Jason said about how helpful you are. I've mentioned before how you've helped me get my audio setup going. And actually, the song that will be coming out soon, the new Great Order song, Mr. ForNull here has been very much helping as kind of a production consultant. So we'll talk more about that. But he's always very responsive to any questions. And I know there are a lot of other people you help behind the scenes as well. So thank you for that. And we're glad to spend some time with you here.
My pleasure. Yeah, that's fun. I've enjoyed that, our little production collaboration, because that helps me. You know, if I have to explain something to you that I have never had to put into words, it kind of forces me to really know what I'm saying, you know, so I had to go and it's helping me, you know, I'm researching and like getting the tools together to help, like we were talking about, you know, using some scientific method too, just to have a metric to use for the different aspects of producing and things like that. But anyways, yeah, that stuff's fun to do for sure. When Jason first brought that thing up, that little guy, the first glimpse of it, it looked like a America bong or something, you know. What's he gonna do here? That wouldn't be very Promethean of Jason to do that, but
no. Well, it's fireworks I'm about to set off inside the office here.
Awesome.
I've thought about it. When I finally am going to repaint the office, maybe what I'll do is a fire extinguisher and some fireworks.
There you go.
We'll plan it for next year.
Just explode it all over and see, like those paint things.
ForNull would have to be there with very high-tech microphones and audio equipment to capture the sound of the boom, and then we could sample that and use it in a song.
And my screaming.
We could. That'd be
my
cool.
screaming.
Yeah. He'd be there. ForNull would be there to capture, audio engineer the whole thing and capture the impact.
Yes. But yeah, I don't have anything really important to talk about, or I just came on to say hey to you guys and show off my fancy flag thing that I made for this. And
I love it.
Yeah, I've been working hard. I haven't been making as much music lately because I've been doing this Dragon Synth Adventure show that I do, and
very cool.
And that's fun. Yeah, that's fun. We have a great community in the chat, and it's just like a gathering, a weekly gathering. And I work some of the go free stuff into it where I can, and then we have a whole white positive segment where I feature different white positive acts, or shows like the Hearth of Europa. They do that folklore, and so yeah, it's fun. And I started another stream, and then I'm gonna try and do like a talking stream soon called Wellbeing Talk.
Oh.
And it's gonna be like an hour long, and I'll just talk about some current event, and then have people call in or join on Streamlabs or something. So a couple of people have been saying, oh, you should do one where people join you. And so I've been trying to figure out how I can do it, how I can do an hour. It'd be like a half hour of content and then a half hour of just BSing with whoever comes on. So
I could see you doing that. You have a good speaking voice for this kind of thing, like laid back, and you don't rush and speak too quickly. I don't personally.
I speak slow, is what you're saying. No.
And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I mean that as a compliment. I don't like when people are all whiz bang, talk fast. That's If we're talking,
it's hard to digest. I can't think that. I think I can think through probably any kind of analytical logic problem, but I like to really just take my time and figure it out. And it works the same way when I'm speaking. I can't just rattle stuff off. I have to think, what I'm going to say. So unless I have a script, and I do sometimes have a script. So,
yeah, but I could see you doing that, like a radio style call-in show and speaking with people.
That'd be fun.
It'd be relaxing and informative, and we need that kind of thing. So let us know.
We definitely do.
Keep us posted.
And ForNull,
sure.
I just remembered this. Yeah, and we'll tell everybody about it once you have that up and running. And before you go, you'll have to tell everybody when you have your programs. But I just, before I forget, I asked you for that fabulous. You had replayed some audio that you had done, this whole little vignette with imminent rain, and where you all go down into the dungeon.
Oh yeah,
that was the coolest thing. And I didn't hear it live. I heard it in replay where you just played. I guess you had cut it out of that show, and then you played it for everybody in sort of a replay fashion. And I was there at that one. Lucked out because I had never heard that before. I definitely would like to get that and play that in parts on Going Free, because everybody should hear the talent of this guy. And of course, Imminent Rain. And I had no idea that Imminent Rain could really feel a role. I mean, he was like he
was.
I couldn't believe. I was like, what is going on? How did I miss this? But there's so much magnificent content. And our lives anti-whites are always shutting us down. So we're busy, and then the anti-wives are shutting us down, and then we end up not hearing all of this fabulous stuff. The entire community should be hearing that. That was tell folks about that just briefly, because it is really fascinating.
Sure. About that episode, you mean, or
well, that where you all made that audio.
Okay, yeah, sure.
It's kind of like radio plays. ForNull here's like a one-man production facility.
Exactly. Well, when I was younger, I won't go into a 3-hour explanation, but when I was younger, we did an audio book version of one of these old Elric books. We started trying to make like an audio drama, and I loved it so much. I got really into it. Like, I had the ocean and we didn't have synthesizers or anything. So like for the ocean, I was taking a TV, the static from the TV, and I was slowly turning it up and down like the sound of the shore.
Oh my God, that is awesome.
and we were using his dad's rocking chair to be the creaking of the ship they were on. And, you know, so I had so much fun doing that. I'm like, I got to do that again. And I finally did for my White Rock Hour show. And I was making stories. There's probably 5 of them. And one of them is a little too spicy. And so that can probably never be played again. But the others are all pretty funny and pretty good. And then so I had like the grand finale one. I asked Imminent Rain if he could come on and do one with me, and he did. And it was cool. I mean, I wrote the script. I wrote a script, and it just gave him all his lines and gave him some direction. And then he just sent me audio files, you know, of each different line. And then I put it all together with the sound effects and you know, added music and stuff. But yeah, that was super fun. It turned out so good. I was really proud of that. But yeah, I'll get you that for sure.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And we have to, when we play, maybe the first time, I don't know what how long is it in total? Because I know you had it was like commercial breaks during it, or it was like your commercial, you broke into it when you played it. Is that right?
Well, yeah, that was kind of a challenge, working out how to break out of the story and then into the next song that I was playing, because those were in between songs. And so I would sort of pop out like, okay, you know, speaking of that, we're going to have to play this next song while me and Krondor, you know, try and get down this tunnel. And so that's how it was. It was like the in-between segments, but I don't know exactly how long it is, but I can send it to you, or we can talk about it if you want me to chop it up into bite-sized pieces or something. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, because it would be great to have you on, and we'll play we'll chop it up so that it's a little bit more bite-sized, but play it over the totality of it over going free. That'd be a heck of a lot of fun.
Heck yeah.
People need to hear stuff like that, so they know where the party's going on. There are lights, there's a laser show, we're having fun, we're having a good time, and then they'll wonder, well, where everywhere else you're not allowed to satirize anything. You have to walk and talk and look a certain way, as anti-white as possible. But hey, there's this great party going on outside the city walls, you know, the anti-white city. And of dystopia. That's and you can just come on out and party with us. If folks are getting tired of anti-whiteism, and listen to probably some of you out there, when ForNull was talking about his when he was younger and what they did to make the sounds with the static of the TV for the ocean, and then the creaking chair for the ship rocking. You can hear in that the ingenuity of the biospirit of the West and the creativity. And ForNull is definitely tapping into that, and has genetically a storehouse of talent. There are times when ForNull, folks, he doesn't know something, and then it's like it's almost like a robot. He's like, let me just learn really quick, and then 120 seconds later, he's like, okay, I know how to do it now.
It is kind of, yeah. That's actually something I've trained myself to do. That took many years to learn how to do that, because what I learned, because my job's very demanding, or my profession, whatever you want to call it, it's not really a job anymore, but anyways, I have to constantly learn new stuff all the time, and I forget old stuff. You know, it's like a computer, and I can become an expert on something. Well, expert if I have some experience. I can become proficient at something if I've never done it before, until I don't need it anymore. And then I'll totally forget it, though. I mean, it'll be very hard. It's a little easier to pick it up again, but I can't. It's strange. Yeah, my brain is weird. And I don't know if other people experience that too when they're doing stuff, but
So
yeah,
it's
that's
like
how it
as
is
an
for me.
it's on an as needed basis.
Kinda, yeah. Uh, I mean, there'll be remnants of things there, and especially if I've done them enough, those neural pathways are not going away. But it's almost like I've figured out how to configure my brain so that, like a computer, like I can just load stuff up into an area and it's ready to go or something. I don't know how to explain it.
Just
but
don't forget the audio engineering stuff. And we'll
yeah,
I might need to borrow some of your computer brain for that.
All right.
Well, it's like the movie that Jared George and I watched, The Matrix, for Frodi's show last year, not this previous one, but the one before in The Matrix, where what was it, the girl, I guess the lead female, and Trinity, yes, and she needed the ability to fly I think it was my favorite helicopter. It's a Huey, and so she just called up and said, "Quick, I need to know how to fly this helicopter." And they flash to the guy, and he says, "All right, 1 second," and he's like typing something in, and then back to her, and her eyelids are closed, and then they kind of flutter a little bit, and she opens her eyes and she says, "Let's go." That's ForNull. That's real.
Yeah, right. That would be awesome.
He's just like, okay, ready to go.
That. Yeah, I should learn that move with my eyelids so I can really play it off all the way.
Do you know how to fly any helicopters or any martial arts?
Martial arts.
He's willing to reveal.
Well, I know. Yeah, I'm a black belt actually, but I haven't done. I studied Rabukai Shotokan karate. It's a Japanese hard style. Yeah, for like 14 years. So, and
wow.
I competed. I've taken international, trophies and.
Wow.
So,
why?
I didn't know any of this. Keep talking.
I fought. Yeah, I love. Fighting was my favorite thing, and so. Yeah, but I stopped doing it at a fairly young age.
Jason, I love how this is just a casual aside. Like, I have like international trophies in Japan. But anyway, let's check out some flag graphic of it.
That's fantastic. No, tell us, when did you start?
Yeah, why am I not surprised?
When I was like 7 or 8 or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, my dad put me in. I had a great instructor. He, I don't think this will dox me or anything, so it's probably safe to say that he was the guy who taught Arnold Schwarzenegger the choreographed the swords in Conan. His name is Kayuki Yamasaki or something. I can't remember his first name, but it's close. And he was awesome. And we would always have people coming from Japan, like these masters, and showing demonstrations, and it was so cool. And he taught me discipline. He was very tough. Right. If I had dirt under my fingernails or anything, I'd get smacked, my hands. And so I was like, from an early age, disciplined, to be on the ball or whatever it was. And my dad I lifted weights 3 nights a week. I did wrestling, football, all the stuff. So that's what I think a lot of guys are missing. They never had to deal with that. And so it's hard for them, and then when they get power, they just turn into maniacs.
Right.
Instead of being a team player and just, how can I help out?
I think this helps. I think this helps me understand you a little bit more. You heard it here at first again, and
all right,
exclusive. Yeah. But I love it. You just like drop in this little gold nugget.
ForNull's like, but by the way, I'm a full-fledged ninja. That's why.
Yes.
That's just one of the things I've picked up along the way.
Anything else?
I've fought on mountaintops.
No.
While we're at it, Anything else? Do you do ice sculptures with chainsaws?
No, I don't. Anything else? No, not really. I mean, I do. There's some things that I don't want to say that I do, but the computer music, and I don't even do karate anymore. That I stopped that when I was in my 20s. So.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it could be tough. It could be really tough on the body. I mean, we have a bunch of folks. Actually, it's really interesting in the white positive sphere that have martial arts backgrounds, and it can be really tough on the body when you follow it on up. It's sort of like motocross, riding dirt bikes. For fun is one thing, but it's definitely a young man sport. And when I say young man, I mean like 23 is old, because of how quickly you have to be able to heal from being thrown around, not like a severe injury, but just from being thrown around on the bike, so that you are in prime condition for the very next ride, because otherwise it just builds up, and then all of a sudden a ligament tears just from being bounced around on the dirt bike. So same way with martial arts. I mean, it really is a young man's sport, and if you follow it up older and older in years, you'll still be able to do all of the same things as when you were younger. It's just healing suddenly doesn't work quite as fast anymore. That's the problem.
Yeah, or you just twist one slightly wrong way, and then your back's out again for 2 days or whatever. So yeah,
Right.
Because I had 2 sons, and I used to do this helicopter thing where I'd swing them, one in each arm. And
Right.
like that, I ruined my back doing that,
Oh,
and now, so every once in a while, I just pick something up and I turn the wrong way, and it's like, crap. Like, I just gotta crawl around on the floor now.
you're right. As you were saying that, there was some father on this 4th of July weekend who was spinning his 2 sons and immediately released them
Yeah.
so that they could fly
Just
through the air.
Just let go. Well, there's pillow cushions everywhere, so it's safe.
Yeah, it's safe. Well, where are you? And where can folks? What time can folks find your show? I'm always missing it. I have these folks who write to me and say, "Oh, I was on with watching ForNull the other night, and X, Y, or Z was fantastic," and then I'm always kicking myself. So, where can folks find your great content, brother?
All right, thanks. Yes. Okay, so I'm over on D Live at ForNull, so that's the channel. Every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, is the Dragon Synth Adventures show. That's where we play some ambient soundtrack, kind of fantasy, instrumental electronic music. And then sometimes on Saturdays I'll do a stream. But yeah, the Monday show's the main one. And then over on, I'm on Gab, ForNull on Gab. I'm ForNull USA on Twitter. I'm on all the platforms, though. I have videos. I recently got my YouTube going again. I've got a couple of band camps now again. So I'm slowly reseeding those platforms with my content, hoping to stay on there a little longer. We'll see if I can avoid confrontation with people who have power in the big tech industry. And if I do want to do that, I'll do it under a different pseudonym so they don't just come and destroy whatever platform I have.
You have to bring in those ninja skills, ForNull.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well,
I'm on every platform. No.
What was that?
I said I'm on every platform. Just look for ForNull or ForNull USA, and you'll find something.
Yeah, and send me all the links you want to include under the post for this episode on our site. And enjoy the weekend with your family. I know we'll be talking soon.
Thank you.
As I said, everyone,
there you go.
Look out for more things coming your way from ForNull. It's a one-man production studio.
You guys are so nice.
It's not an understatement, brother. Thank you so much for showing up and celebrating with us.
Oh, thanks for having me on. You guys are the best. Have a great weekend.
All right, you too,
Thank
brother. Happy Independence Day.
You too.
And that was the one and only ForNull. And yeah, Jared, another Tap exclusive.
Another Tap exclusive for ForNull's Other Life as a Ninja.
That is no joke. I can't believe it. Amazing.
Yeah, I was trained.
I guess I can believe it.
The guy who trained Arnold Schwarzenegger and Köhne, all the sword work. Yeah, he taught me this ancient Japanese martial art. And I was a black belt. I have international trophies. But anyway. Let me tell you about my next song.
What I'm working on is
he really is a helpful and very talented guy.
Oh yeah, without question. We have such an amazing community, and I say it like at least almost maybe every other Sunday, that this is the advanced placement, the white positive sphere, the practice of going free. And we just saw the practice of going free intersect with the anti-whites who call themselves conservatives and anti-whites who call themselves Republicans. And it exploded with roses, everything that they do to conceal what their real agenda is, to misdirect our people down dead-end alleys. And it's been happening since before our grandparents were born. So that's why this community, community of love, hope, and redemption, attracts the best and retains the best. You end up with ForNulls in your midst. You end up with Eminent Reigns and Jared Georges in your midst. And our next two, Hiraeth and Jeff Winston, in your midst. Hello, you wonderful people there. How are you doing? And a happy Independence Day.
Happy Independence Day. Doing well. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Happy Independence Day. Thanks for having us. Yes.
Jeff, how are you? Hirith. I don't know if you caught any of ForNull's interview. We learned some new things about him.
He's a ninja. I heard that.
So you were listening. See, the plot thickens. And I don't know if you were aware from the very beginning, but you kind of, Hirith, you memed into reality Tim Murdock actually being on this show.
Yes.
Ah, awesome.
We had a cancellation today, but we were given some time, a couple hours notice. It was just a situation that couldn't be avoided, so it's fine. And I said it'd be funny if I texted Tim and said, "Why don't we make this a reality?" When you were like, "Hey, are you going to go on?" And he's like, "No," but he knows we love him, and I was telling him we have to keep it short. Since we had this cancellation, though, I said, why don't you come on and we'll make this a reality? So there you go. You made it happen.
Well, yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's nice to talk to Tim.
It's just he's always on the holiday specials, and that's usually when he's always like right around the time when I've been on in the past. So I just brought it up yesterday.
We had to keep that theme going. Well, you two, there's a lot going on with WACK. I know that the footage from the first WACKfest is now beginning to get out there. You did the first part last Saturday on the 26th. And Hirith, you're now the spokesperson. I don't quite know what that means, but maybe both of you can start to tell us a little about that.
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm just going to be helping with promotional stuff, and my face is out there, so I figured, why not? I volunteer for WACK. I believe in the mission of the White Art Collective, and so I want to help it grow as much as possible. So I will be representing the White Art Collective when Jeff can't, and that will free up his time to do other grand things such as WACKfest in the future. So
just to thread that, I hope it doesn't sound too self-serving, but it's just a bit of history now that you did your face reveal on this very show on the after party a few months ago back in March, and we appreciate that. We see that as a sign of trust and faith in us, and we've had a few people share some things or do some things for the first time with us. How has it been for you since you've shown your face? Has it changed the dynamic at all over these last few months?
Not really. It's more of like well, just when I go on public streams like this, I have to like be consciously aware that I'm like not fidgeting and stuff or doing anything weird. Not that I do weird stuff, but I do fidget sometimes. So I have
We
to be
all
a
we
little
all
bit more
do.
like,
We all do.
yeah, a little bit more relaxed, try to just stop moving around so much. But yeah, I mean, it hasn't really changed too much at all, which is good. It's a good thing. So, but I do
And
think that it does it's good to have a face to the name sometimes. And I know not everybody can do that, and that's totally understandable. I respect that, of course, but
yeah.
it's nice. It's nice to have that, I think.
So Jeff, this means aside from doing the shows, you'll be able to focus more on logistics. I know it must have been quite a feat to pull off something like WACKfest. Hirith was explaining a little bit about the nuts and bolts of it last night on Tim's show.
Yeah, it has been an incredible undertaking, and it's still going on. That's why I'm kind of running on empty here. I've been still editing videos. Hirith has about an hour-long set, and I'm still working on that. We're still doing the final mix down, and to make sure there's safe for everybody, I have to do a lot of like blurs on the screen, and the blurs are moving around.
That must be something.
Oh yeah, that's actually the worst part. When we set up the stage, I was very conscious of like I didn't want the speakers to face. There were some people, some neighbors near the venue, and I didn't want them to be disturbed by the speaker like too loud for them. So we faced it away from them, but then that made the cameras face all this stuff that we needed to like. It was identifying locality, and we're like, now I know. Next time we got to think of all those things ahead of time. But it's been a very awesome project, and really it's been like 5 months going now since we first started organizing, and we'll be wrapping it up after we do this and yeah, it's been really rewarding and a great thing. Very exciting stuff.
For both of you, kind of on the same thing I was asking Hirith. I mean, Jeff, since you're speaking, I guess we can start with you first, but I know I've experienced this. I don't know if I'm just projecting my own thing onto this, but it seems like the longer that this scene has gone on, we all have to wear different hats, obviously, and a lot of us have different talents, or we have to just fill different roles, and it makes sense because we don't have these huge organizations. But I have seen a trend where it seems like people are, maybe because there are more of us, or maybe because some of the social and political, there's always news to kind of recast and reframe and understand. And Jason does a lot of great work with that. Obviously, Sundays Going Free, keeping up with news stories and helping people navigate those things and understand what's going on in the wider world. And there's other people who do that very well. So that's not to say that goes away. But for some of us, it's like the main frame of how you understand what's going on. It's now, we've kind of digested so much of that where, again, I don't want to project, so you tell me how this feels to you, but it just seems in my own experience and some of the things I'm picking up from other people that we're all kind of relaxing more into our strong suits and what's meant for us. So maybe for you, Jeff, for example, it might mean, I mean, you tell me, but from what I see, like I kind of think of you as an orchestrator. And that's what you're doing when you put together these events and you put together the playlists and present the weekly shows and everything. And Hirith, obviously, you're very creative, you're a musician, but you've always sometimes dipped your toe into going on streams and talking about some more philosophical things. Like I know we've done a couple shows together, and so once you decided to show your face, it kind of made sense to kind of be a vessel of communication that way as well. But does that make sense? I mean, like I said, Jeff, and then Hirith, does anything of what I'm making sense? Say what I'm saying now. Is it making sense?
Yeah, I think so. Definitely. I think everybody was kind of getting their feet under them. Definitely with WACK, we were kind of establishing the culture of the organization, and also just kind of establishing like the core group which kind of established the overall vibe and kind of our aesthetic. And yeah, we have enough people, like you're saying. Once you get enough people, then you can kind of start to have more roles, kind of more designated, what do they call that? Division of labor, right? So yeah, definitely. For me, I've been doing like too many different things, like from the most basic, like, with the festival, I was literally like hauling stuff around. I drove a van around all weekend, all week long, like taking stuff here and there. And that was a good example of like, we're going to start getting more division of labor, but generally, yes, like being kind of the orchestrator and kind of like putting all the pieces together. I've been actually talking about that with Hirith. Like, I feel very much like I've arrived in a role that really I feel comfortable with, and that makes sense given my personality, Yeah. And so yeah, I'm very happy with where that's going. And I see, and I'll let her speak for herself, obviously, but like, I see that with Hirith too. Like, she's really, she's gone through a metamorphosis, if you will, and
that's also one of your strengths. Those little segues.
Right. But yeah, she's, I see that just like with so many of our folks within our general spheres, but also definitely within WACK. And I think that this is just bringing that out even more so, because this is literally a real event, and people I had in mind, like so-and-so is going to run the sound, like DJ Boxcar ran the sound, and Chuck, he was kind of over there wandering around doing something, I can't remember. And then, so there's like, we're starting to kind of designate all of these different roles, and everybody's kind of stepping up to fulfill them. So yeah, I definitely think that's happening on a broader meta sense, and also just like on a very real kind of on the ground level.
And I think that makes sense for long term. You can do something for a little while short term if you're wearing different hats, but long term, if you're going to do something year in and year out, it has to be those things that excite you, that get you up every morning. But Hirith, what do you make of all that?
Well, going off what Jeff said, we don't do any stabbing unless it's in a spooky short film. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, I don't think anybody else could have started the White Art Collective, or they would have, So I think that is definitely, Jeff being an orchestrator is totally what he's supposed to be doing. That's why he did it, and that's why he's so good at it, and that's why no one else did it until he did, And then for me personally, it's just nice because when you're doing everything on your own, it's like you have to learn all these different jobs, and some of them you just know you're not good at or really cut out for, and they're just not, you don't think that way, or that's just not something that you're just, even if you were to practice at it, you might get better, but it's just not something you're naturally gifted at.
Sure.
Well, for me, it's like music production, for instance. That's not my forte, but I had to learn it. But yeah, so it's nice when people settle into a specific role, especially in a collective, like an organization such as White Art Collective, and we all have our strengths for sure. Yeah, I definitely feel like I'm finding my footing, and it just feels really, like I said before, I've said many times, it does feel like home being a part of the White Art Collective, being a creative person with the beliefs that we have and everything. It's definitely a home, and it's nice when you find a good role for yourself that will benefit the rest of everybody else as well by doing those things. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And what about being spokesperson? Is that like, how do you were there anything you did in your life, or any talents or interests that kind of led up to that, or were foreshadowings of like what you're doing now? Because like I know we spoke, just didn't really speak about it. It was mentioned in a brief exchange. I don't think you'd mind me saying, like, even me too, like even doing streams like this for a few years, I know what it's like to be creative and have that more web-like mind and have 12 different things coming to your head at once. And sometimes it's actually, like you're saying, not the most natural thing to sit and give a linear presentation. Artist's mind doesn't sometimes work like that. But how are you finding that, or what are your expectations, or like what made you say yes to this role?
Well, actually, as far as like past things leading up, like, no, I've never done anything like this. I'm really bad with public speaking. Um, I've got a lot of stage fright, so I get very nervous.
So you never
Um,
performed? You didn't do theater in high school or anything like that?
no, no, oh no. I mean, I did chorus for a little while, but that was with like a whole group of people, and I didn't do it for very long. So, but yeah, I never like performed for people or anything like that. So this is kind of new, but I do like connecting with people, and
Mhm.
um I just like bringing people together in certain ways, and especially when there are like I see all these little different I guess like split offs in the broader community where people just start to argue over stupid things, and I feel like with the common goals that we have, those things shouldn't matter, and I think that I'm pretty good at mediating things in ways. So maybe I'll help relay some information, help bring people together through White Art Collective, especially artists, people with creative minds that have a squirrel brain like me. Maybe my rambling will somehow make sense to them, and they'll be like, I should go contact them.
I hear
One
that.
can only hope.
Can I say a quick thing about
Please.
Hirith? Yeah, actually, Tim picked up on it yesterday. He was just saying that, like, wow, you're a perfect spokesperson for WACK because you're like the shining example of basically what we have to offer. You know, like Hirith has developed so much since she came on
Right.
board. You know,
Right.
and like she was very shy and didn't even really want us to play her stuff at first, and then we kind of like she warmed up to that, and then she eventually actually started live streaming. I put it out there as like, hey, if anybody wants to start, pitch me a show, then you can stream it on the WACK channel. And then so she pitched me Friday Unplugged Now, and then so she hosted that for a
Right.
while,
Right.
and then she did her first live performance on a live stream on that show, and then she's just been like collaborating like crazy, and then she did her very first actual live performance was at WACKfest. So like this is an incredible evolution,
Yeah.
So like I think she's just the perfect example, kind of a testimonial. And also I think it's good that she's it's genuine and sincere, having the nervousness and the stage fright, and I think that's something that people can relate to. If you're someone who's just like super duper outgoing and you're just the person who runs into a room and yells and everybody's looking at you, it's like I personally am not a big fan of those kind of people,
Right.
necessarily.
Right. That wouldn't work, especially for an artistic organization. I mean, everyone has different tastes. Jason, I know you talk about psychographics, not just demographics, but psychographics, and from your experience in sales, like there's different types of people, different psychologies out there. Yeah, I don't respond well usually when something is too polished, and you see this in a lot of these young conservative groups, what goes by generally conservative. And I don't want to assume the worst of people. Maybe some of the people that get involved in those things, at least some of their intentions are good. I don't know. I don't, like I said, I don't want to assume the worst of people, but the overall presentation, it's like if everything is like perfect hair and makeup and the bubbly, hey, hello, like we're going to tell you that socialism is bad. Like it's just next, when it's just real people talking like real friends around a table at a restaurant, connecting like that. Hiraeth, same here. I'm right there with you. Like that's why I do this, is about connecting. It's, to me, that's where it's like the actual human connection is, and that makes it real, and that's intriguing. It makes you want to keep going back. And I'll give another testimonial here. Hiraeth, somewhat related, you said in a tweet a few weeks ago, and it's not directly related to what we're talking about now, but it's crossed my head, it's crossed my mind, and it's helped me kind of frame, because again, like you, I'm kind of a similar personality, like a bridge, a connector, kind of go between, kind of get along and understand different kinds of people, at least enough to sometimes be a mediator. you said, because we all see these feuds and things. You said my Twitter timeline is blessed by strong personalities. I was like, that was such a diplomatic way to kind of address the fact in an indirect way that sometimes there's these feuds, and I'm friends with, or I like certain people who don't like each other. That's just the reality of it. And I wish it weren't so, but sometimes I find myself in that position. I understand what person A is doing and why they're doing it, and I understand what person B is doing, but person A and person B don't seem to like each other, or they have some kind of fallout. But I really like how you frame that. It's like, I'm blessed by these strong personalities. And it's like, to do this, all of us, even if you're more introverted, we all have to have some degree of a strong personality to be going against this whole anti-white system and be heretics in our time. And it makes it interesting. I like at least putting a positive spin on that, and it was a good perspective. But in the little bit of time we have left, well, first of all, please let me know if you have anything to say to that. But if you don't, I'll throw you a lifeline and say we could talk about just fun, lighthearted stuff too, like what you guys do for the long weekend, or any Independence Day or American kind of traditions in your families. So pick up on what I said, or we can get right to that fun stuff.
Sure. Well, just real quick, based on from what you said, I agree. Well, I said that on Twitter because I like that there are so many strong personalities. I think that's necessary. It's like we need people who are willing to lead the way. And when you have a lot of strong personalities that want to lead the way, sometimes they want to lead the way in slightly different directions, and they don't agree on which way to go. Even though it is in the same overall general direction, it's like there's slightly different paths, but I think it does make it interesting. I like that not everybody is like the same. It's not some conformed, like ultra conformed, like gray. Everything's gray and boring, and it does make things interesting. Not in like a juicy, dramatic way, but just in everybody's like a leader in their own right and in their own way, and I really appreciate that. So I like that. I think that there's definitely common ground, and I think that's where people like you and I come in to help see that common ground and
isn't
that the glue, hopefully.
Sometimes the glue gets chewed up though.
It could happen, yeah.
But isn't that kind of the two-edged sword of being people of the West to begin with? It's like what we're talking about. It's kind of a microcosm of our peoples and our cultures at large.
Oh, for
that's
sure.
That's our strength, but it's also our Achilles heel, that we're all more independent minded.
Yeah, and we're also explorers, so sometimes we want to go explore different things than other people. So yeah,
two-edged sword. Jeff, anything to say to that, or want to tell about any Independence Day or general American traditions? What it means to you this time of year?
Quick note on, I'm with you guys on I'm always stuck between people who have very different viewpoints, and I feel like with WACK we do a good job of kind of riding the line. Like
we do, yeah.
At the festival, we had people of very, very differing viewpoints able to come together, kind of under the umbrella of culture. And I think that that's a strong suit that we're going to continue to play on, because I think that ultimately culture does kind of undergird the things just generally, because people can have their political disagreements and optical disagreements and all those things. But there's a lot more overlap culturally when we get down to it. But as far as traditions and whatnot, I don't know. I went to like the my local festival last weekend. Had a couple beers, and I think I'm just going to take it easy this weekend. But definitely celebrate in the historical sense, knowing what the July 4th really means. And
you're going to do any yard work like Tim Murdock?
I was actually doing some yard work yesterday. It's not necessarily like a tradition for the 4th, but I'll probably end up doing some more. Yeah, have a few beers, do some yard work.
Any grilling Grilling up meat.
Probably, yeah. Probably have some hamburgers, maybe some. I've been craving. I need like a really good hot dog. You know, I just got one from the stand earlier, and they sent it. Once I got it out and opened the box, it was this like little rinky dink. I thought it was going to be like a big style like Chicago hot dog, and it was this like half hot dog thing. Anyway, so I need a good hot dog.
You just reminded me, Jeff. I have a little pet campaign. And I'm curious what any of you think of this, to kind of bring the word Frankfurter back. It's just like it's a hamburger from Hamburg, Germany. It's just a sausage that how they made it in Frankfurt, Germany. And I don't know what the history is, guys. Maybe it was, I suppose it was German immigrants over to the US that first popularized the Frankfurter, which we Americans colloquially call the hot dog, as Jeff was just saying. But Frankfurter, I kind of like calling them Frankfurters now. It's a little more in touch with the tradition, but maybe also reading the Federalist Papers or something very Independence Day, Founding Fathers kind of thing. Hirith, do you have any plans? Do you plan to grill meat or mow your lawn or do all these things that these guys are doing? What do you have on the agenda?
I don't have any plans really. I think it's supposed to thunderstorm most of the weekend. So I was planning on just working on collaborations that I've fallen behind on because I've been trying to help promote for WACKfest tomorrow, or the second part of it, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, just so you guys know if you didn't already.
Yeah, when Jeff was saying you have a full performance, your performance that he's still editing, that's we're going to see that tomorrow night, correct?
Yes, so that's my very first live performance, and you guys get to see it for all that it is. So hopefully you enjoy that, and
that's no pressure. It's like
no pressure.
It's like you're the WACK spokesperson, and it's this featured performance that is filmed by, now I know he did the promo, but did Lord Wolfshield, was he filming your performance as well? I think he's in the chat right now.
Yeah, Jeff and Lord Wolfshield both filmed. I think there were 3 cameras for mine actually that Jeff had to edit, so that was probably fun for him. But yeah, and then there was how many different microphones were there? Were there 2, Jeff?
Yeah, we had a board. We were recording straight out of the mixing board, and I had an audience mic. And there were actually 4 cameras for Hirith's set because she set up her iPhone camera, and Luke had a camera. And then Lord Wolfshield had his nice gimbal running around doing the moving shots, and then I had another static shot. Yeah, I'm on the last song tonight, and I'm waiting for Boxcar to get me the final mixes. So I'm going to cut them in probably tomorrow and export everything like literally up to the last minute. But
imagine that your first performance. I mean, you're a recording artist like Hirith, but you haven't really done the performing thing yet. And everyone has stage fright. I don't care what anyone tells you. You're always in a heightened state, and your heart's beating. I don't even remember what my first performance was, but it certainly didn't have 4 cameras up on you and getting every little nuance, and then it's going to be broadcast to the whole community you represent. So good on you, Hirith. That is that's, like I said, no pressure for your first performance. Jeez.
Yeah, it was a lot of pressure. Well, it's a lot of pressure, but at the same time, I couldn't have asked for a better audience, better community. Any little blip I have, or little hiccup in the performance, I know that everybody will be super understanding because it was my first performance, and it takes practice, because when you're performing live, it's totally different from just playing in your room, because you get used to like a certain volume. You connect your vocals to your instrument, and you get used to that volume level, and so it's a totally different experience playing live. But it was a really good experience to have, and especially around the people and in the community that I did it. I think I couldn't imagine doing it anywhere else, or I probably would have I don't know, never performed again. I would have been so scared.
It would have been traumatic.
Yeah.
But
no, it was great. Everybody was so supportive, and I really enjoyed it. So
yeah, it really was. Again, that's a testament to Hirith going from being so shy, and having that kind of stage fright to that is an incredible amount of pressure. And I was even going to have her be like the headliner, which she kind of in video form is going to be the headliner anyway. But she was like, "Oh no, that's too much. I'm sorry if I'm saying this out there." But it's like, "Oh, you're
No,
right.
you're
What am I doing? Like trying to put this pressure on you?" So like, because I mean,
like, please no. Please
I don't even
make me the
remember.
headliner.
I actually don't even remember. I'm like, Jared, I don't remember what my first performance was. It was probably an open mic or just in front of some friend, like something small, nothing like this.
Oh, I do now. Yeah, I do now. Yeah. Never mind.
Not to mention like the security and the OPSEC and like all of this other things considered, 4 cameras. It was, so kudos to her for being such a champ, and the performance is amazing. You guys will enjoy it, I assure you.
So Hirith, 2 years from now, Wembley Stadium. Keep the trajectory on that.
Gosh,
Right?
I don't know. I'll have to put on some like big, I don't know, like I have to wear that like hooded cloak with some sunglasses so I can feel invisible. My heart would be racing so much for something
You
like
start
that.
with that. Yeah, the hooded cloak. That's what you were on before you showed your face. That you showed up on our Halloween show.
Yeah.
I think you had the cloak on, and no, I think you had the skeleton, the face mask, like the COVID mask.
Yeah. Yep. But actually I'm still like gonna utilize that cloak because we're gonna do a music video at some point for a song that will be on the next album. And I like have a vision for it. Definitely want to wear the cloak in like a dark forest or something, holding a candle or lantern or something. I think that would be awesome. So we'll see.
Yeah, you can incorporate that in the stage show. They always say, I've heard they say you want to, like, if you watch performers, they come out with like a lot, like sunglasses and like a coat, and they say you do a couple songs and you kind of take the sunglasses off and take the coat off, and there's this whole psychological thing that as the performance goes on, you're kind of showing more of yourself. I mean, you still keep clothes on, we're not implying anything here. But if you do watch like a lot of rock bands and stuff, the lead singer comes out with like a hat and sunglasses and all this stuff, and then they start taking things off, and then midway through the performance, they're more in like just like a t-shirt and jeans, and you're like, oh yeah, like you don't think about that stuff until it's pointed out to you. But there's a whole psychology to like the trajectory of a rock show with even stuff like that. So maybe the cloak can play a role in that kind of thing too.
Yeah, maybe. Only problem is during summer it's really hot because that thing is made of wool. So
yeah. So much of the clothing back in the day was wool. So I don't know how they survived. Somehow they did, because we're here today. They must have been tough people. But I'm really proud of you. It's a proud little lady right here. All of these challenging firsts, and she's just taking the bull by the horns and making it happen in the service for White Wellbeing. And that's magnificent. And very happy to see Jeff, who has worn more hats than a hat store, than a Mad Hatter's store, and delegating some duties. Yeah, delegating some duties so that he can have a little bit more rest. We want him to be at his best, and I know he's choosing the right people for each of the duties. What a magnificent team. Can't wait to see. I didn't get a chance to catch part 1. I will watch that, and then and part 2, looking forward to that. But it's been a splendid opportunity to chat with the both of you today on Independence Day. Independence from Antiwhiteism.
Yeah.
But any final thoughts, and we're going to let you go. Jeff, Hirith, go first. You're talking.
Oh, I was just going to say thank you so much for having us. And so just to reiterate, the second part of WACKfest is tomorrow, July 3rd at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on the White Art Collective D Live, YouTube, Odysee. You can follow us there or go to whiteartcollective.com. And we're also doing an auction as well that ends on Sunday. That's like the ultimate White Art Collective collector's pack. And that's on eBay. And I think you can find that through the website. I'm not sure if it's posted there yet or not, but it's like a signed acoustic guitar by all of the artists that attended WACKfest. Shirts, tote bag, koozie, Hirith signed Hirith CD from like the first album that I did. Fedora
Lord,
favorites.
Lord Wolfshield's compilation, right?
Yes. Fedora Favorites compilation, which was that, and then a painting, an original painting by Donald Kent that was the cover of White People's Quarterly for the 4th issue, I think.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are either of you a ninja secretly, like ForNull?
I'm just gonna get that out of the way.
Can we just get that out of the way?
I'm not a ninja, but something I used to, or I've done some fire spinning, so I can spin fire. So
We talked about
Yes,
that
we
maybe
did.
on the Halloween show.
that is as ninja-like as I get.
If you do the fire spinning with the hooded cloak on, that would get close.
I don't know. I
something
feel like I would catch fire.
like mysterious. Well, the whole
Should be a heck of a
part
show.
of the show, the whole draw would be that you don't. People are expecting it, but you're so good with the fire, you keep it a comfortable distance from your cloak.
I'd have to do some sort of magician's trick, keep it away from the cloak, and yeah.
That'd be the whole draw.
Yeah, for sure.
That'll be the halftime show at the Super Bowl in 5 years. At the rate you're going, Jeff, are you secretly martial art? Did you do martial arts when you were a kid? I took Taekwondo for a few years. I'll just get that out there.
No, I am not a ninja. I never took any martial arts. I can throw a punch, but just in a scrappy way. But not trained. But no, thank you guys very much for having us on. Happy 4th of July. It's great to be celebrating the independence with you guys from this system. And just like what Hiraeth said, check us out tomorrow. It's going to be a great show. Her performance is awesome. Also Donald Kent and Imminent Rain. And I have one song in there too. My set was very abbreviated because of all the stuff going on. But yeah, and the auction, check that out. I just dropped that link. I think that worked in the comments, at least on the YouTubes.
I saw a picture of the signed guitar. It's really cool. And just reiterating for everyone again, it's earlier than normal. SNL is usually 9 o'clock Eastern, and it's 7:30 tomorrow.
Yes, yeah, we're trying to help capture some of the folks across the pond. I know it's still late for them, but trying to split the difference a little bit. But yeah, guys, thanks again. Always a pleasure.
Oh, pleasure's ours, brother.
We'll talk to you both real soon. Thank you, and to you and your loved ones, enjoy the weekend.
Yes, indeed.
You too.
Thank you too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well. Mr. George, we are down.
We're having fun.
We are having fun, brother. We are down to the final get, one of our favorites of all, and one of the absolute best in the white sympathetic sphere, the white positive sphere, the one and only, ladies and gentlemen, Sarah Dye. Hello, sister.
From the garden. I think you need to unmute.
You need to unmute.
Yes.
There you go. Oh, I can hear the birds.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Cool. This is cool. We're getting it from the greenhouse. I love it.
Yeah, I thought this would be a nice place to sit and record or stream, and hopefully the rooster doesn't disturb us too much because he's been cockle-doodling while I was backstage listening to Jeff and Hiraeth. So,
if anything, it'll add ambiance. But this is cool. Have you ever streamed from outdoors like this before?
Yes, I have a few times, and right now the weather is cool. Which is not very typical for Indiana this time of year. So the bugs aren't too bad, but normally the mosquitoes would be a little strong. But the weather here has been just beautiful. We've had so much rain, which is also kind of abnormal for this time of year. So the crops are just so lush and thriving right now. And we are in full swing of the summer gardening season. So I thought it would be fun to sit out here.
It's great. It's like a perfect picture of what you're about. I love it. And
so do I.
Downpours where I am as well. We're hoping that Sunday and Monday are better. The first part of this weekend is going to be rainy, and definitely not farmers. But I live near my folks, and I have all this greenery now from my dad. He has just like a little bit where he's growing kale and beets and radishes and all this stuff, and he's already like, oh man, it's growing too fast, so here, take it. So I have all this stuff in my refrigerator, all this green stuff from the little George family plot, but nothing like what you do.
Oh, that's wonderful. I love that. That's so special. That's a great tradition, you know, going to visit your parents, and it reminds me of my childhood actually, going to grandparents and, you know, picking the cucumbers and the tomatoes from the garden. And we are about to be doing some canning here pretty soon of pickles and tomatoes and that sort of thing. And I love to hear that. I love to hear that you have some access to some healthy, nutritious, fresh produce.
Yeah, there's some farmers markets by me too. I've checked out. I have to say, as a little testimonial for what Sarah and her family does, there, even though Jason and I have done a few shows on health, we're both pretty outspoken about, you know, related to everything we do and everything we're about in this community, and everyone helping sharpen each other, how it's really about being healthy in a holistic way. And when that comes to the physical side, nutrition, different people have different needs. You know, there's all kinds of different information on nutrition, but some definite, you know, some basic principles about eating things that don't have preservatives, eliminating toxins. When I do go buy produce, I try to keep it organic. But I have to say, even having said that, consuming some of these greens that my father grew, when you get it straight from the source like that, literally just cut it off right where it's growing, you feel there's like a cleanliness. It's hard to explain, but we all, you know, your body, you live in your body every day. There's just something extra clean and nourishing feeling about eating food like that.
Yeah, absolutely. We are kind of spoiled in a way that we do have fresh produce almost year round, and it kind of makes it to where when you eat something from a grocery store, it's almost like an entirely different vegetable because the flavor is just not there. So
yeah,
I can certainly relate to that. And and on that note, I should say, I think last time I was on this podcast with you guys, I had mentioned that we had some exciting news to announce coming up, but we weren't ready to announce it. And that news, I can tell you now, is that we have opened up for business here at our place 2 days a week just to start. We're starting small, but so far our neighbors and our community has taken really well to it, and it's been a nice experience for people to just be able to come out to the farm at their leisure and just kind of take in the fresh air and the views and buy produce, you know, just a few feet from where it's being grown. So that's it. That's a new development. I have to say, it's been a very peaceful situation. You know, it's been nice to transition into something that's slower and more peaceful. And, you know, at some point as a mother, it's like I just kind of had to realize that stress is, we've talked about this before, stress is, you know, such a bad thing for our health, and we have to take care of ourselves. And so it has, and obviously having attended the farmers market and that whole debacle, it was very stressful, so and scary. So it's been a nice change, and that's kind of what we're doing now. And our eldest son has been helping me extensively this year in the gardens, and he's really stepped up because my husband has had to take an off the farm job for the first time in about 8 years. So that was a change for our family, but we're so proud of our sons for stepping up and helping. And we've got it has been a weedy and buggy year, I should say. So don't look too closely at the weeds behind me. But yeah, we've got a good garden in this year. So I'm certainly feeling.
Tim Murdock, who was on earlier of White Rabbit Radio, said he had to get some weeds out of his garden. So it's I guess it is happening everywhere. But that is great news that you're able to sell some of your produce, the fruits of your labor on your own property, and that's been working well. And again, Jason, I'm just humbled as always that oftentimes people are on our show and trust us to kind of share some more personal information or some firsts. So we really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I wanted to add too, I think you guys will get a kick out of this. In addition to just opening up for people to come shop for produce, we're actually going to be having workshops here and kind of Q&A tours and hands-on workshops to teach people how we're growing food without chemicals. And, you know, a lot of people are just kind of in the dark about how to get a garden going. So we're offering that here, and we're also going to be inviting a lady who's an excellent soap maker, who's an acquaintance of mine, who is going to co-teach a soap making workshop here later this year. So we're kind of, just trying to share skills as well. So it's going to be, it's kind of we have a lot of stuff going on, so it's exciting.
That does sound like a lot of fun. I was just thinking I should get out to one of these instructional servings over on Sarah's farm, and then I thought, well, that's going to be a heck of a walk or a drive, or I have to get on a plane. But that'll
Jason,
be fun.
Yeah.
well, we've talked about road trips, so we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't want to invite myself, but I'd love to see it in person. We'll stay at a nearby bed and breakfast. You have a family, but I'd love to come see you at some point. It sounds amazing, and I love what you're doing. I second what Jason is saying. Anything about the Independence Day weekend, how you mark it, or just things going on, or things you're reflecting on at this time about the traditional America and the state that we're in right now?
Yeah, definitely. Hearth and Helm, my podcast that my friend and I co-host Carissa, who I think is in the chat tonight, we have taken a long break from the podcast. We have not, I don't think we've streamed since maybe February or something like that. And part of the reason for that is not only did she just recently have a baby, but I think I had spoken briefly with you about this, Jared, but I kind of just felt a need to kind of take a break from podcasting, because I found myself coming into a space where, I don't have any answers to anything. And I was just feeling like filled with all of these questions, what is going to happen to our people? What's going to happen with our country? All of the overwhelming feelings surrounding the election and all of the uncertainty that's happening in the world. So as far as, the state of our country and the Independence Day holiday, it certainly is a time filled with a lot of questions. And I should say too, though, especially because we have 3 children, we're still going to celebrate and have a, wonderful time. We are going to be seeing some fireworks and visiting with some friends, doing some swimming and eating good food. And I have a lot of fond memories from childhood of staying out late and catching fireflies and, family picnics and sparklers and, smoke bombs and all the little fun fireworks that my parents would get us and that sort of thing. So, we have to keep just marching on and trying to stay positive and staying adaptable. And so, of course, that's just what we're doing, and hoping for the best, and, also kind of preparing as well for what could come, what is coming potentially. So.
Well, I hear you, as we said, as we talked about, and we talk about publicly, Jason and I talk about publicly too, it comes up for everybody. The kinds of things that we're all doing, whether you show your face and do something like this or something totally different, it's a long-term thing. It's a lifestyle. Yeah. Yep. And you hear that phrase, but it's a good one. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So you have to pace yourself. And, if you need to take that little time off to kind of recharge, then that's fine. I often have more questions than prescriptions as well. I'm just lucky in that in my capacity as a host usually on these streams, I get to ask questions. So I enjoy that. But I can definitely understand, there's an ebb and a flow to all of this. And it sounds like you're, by the way, the picture you painted is how I grew up as well, visiting family and just doing those summary things. And glad you're able to do that. Very cool to hear how it's how it should be. Your elder son is stepping up into those roles as your husband has to do some work off of the farm. So tell him, good on him. Jason and Jared, applaud him, give him a virtual pat on the back.
Absolutely.
I will pass that on.
How about
anything? Go ahead, Jason.
I was going to say, how about some of these rows of vegetation we see behind you? Succulent vegetation. What do we see behind you?
Well, this is our unheated high tunnel, which I call a greenhouse, but the technical term is a high tunnel. and it's not heated, and it's just this one layer of plastic, and it provides a little bit more control over the climate of the crops in here. So we use it to grow year round. Right now we have summer crops in here, so tomatoes. I don't know if you can see the fruits, but they're quite loaded, and there are also eggplants and some peppers, and then still some spring crops that are kind of coming out slowly as we transition, like beets and broccoli are in here. And then of course, outside of the greenhouse, we've got so many different things planted: potatoes, zucchini and green beans, and lots of onions, watermelons, pumpkins, and a little bit of everything.
My mouth is watering. How fun would it be to be a child or an adult gallivanting among the crops there on Sarah's farm, catching fireflies at night? I've seen a really beautiful firefly show the other night, but that would be so much fun. And this, of course, on Independence Day weekend, when we have the fireworks out as well. Are you all going to be setting off any? Did you say any fireworks of your own? You said, I think, a few, right? Nothing.
Yeah, we will be around some that are being set off. So yeah, I'm not sure if we're going to go seek them out or see what the neighbors have to display, but there's several options, so we won't miss it.
Do you have any favorite foods that you eat at this time of year? Certain fruits or certain plants that kind of keep you cool, or you find that you gravitate towards when it's this kind of hot, muggy weather in the middle of the summer?
Yeah, actually, the cucumbers are the top thing. I just posted recently. It's like all I want to eat right now is cucumber salad. I put loads.
You did that on Instagram, right? Yeah, that looked great.
Yes.
Did you have was that dill on it?
Yes.
I love dill.
Yeah, it's cooling, it's delicious, and we've been eating that almost daily this time of year. And of course, watermelon. And I mean, you have to have the grill. We have to get the grill going, and sometimes we'll grill zucchini and eggplant, and then put fresh mozzarella on just as it comes off the grill, so it kind of melts a little bit. And then a couple pieces of basil on top of that, drizzle with olive oil. It's so good. Yeah,
I love the basil. You're getting everyone's mouth watering.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, there's so many good foods to eat besides, packaged junk full of preservatives. And I feel lucky that we're surrounded by, all this great food here. So
yeah,
I certainly want to.
Sorry, not to be this guy, but to relate it to what we were saying before, just because you reminded me of where we were going when you talked about pacing yourself. It's the same thing with food. It sounds like a public service announcement, but I think it is still worth saying because I see it on Twitter all the time, and I tweeted something to this effect earlier. It's, what we look at every day is our food as well for our spirits and our minds. I know I said this on another recent stream, and it's another kind of balance. I know people want to feel like they're informed about what's going on, and we have to be informed about what's going on, of course, to be able to speak to other people in our lives intelligently about it or prepare for things. But I don't think it's that controversial to say. I don't know. People, let me know what you think. That a good deal, probably a good majority of what we take in our social media feeds, especially Twitter, where it's so easy to just see a bad story and then hit retweet. It takes a millisecond to hit that retweet button. I love the people I'm connected with and love the people I follow. I want to stay in contact with all these people. But 90% of my Twitter feed is people getting hurt, violence, despair. And sometimes I say to myself, like, what am I doing? Like, why am I looking at all of this? And I have to be honest, it's like I'm trying to curate my own list. So it's only from not to be Pollyanna-ish about it, but it's more from the perspective of I want to look at people that are sharing things that inspire me or I learn something. I'll still go and hear the news stories, of course, and there's a time and place for that. And as I say all the time, Jason does a great job on the Going Free streams. A big part of that is he's very good at framing what's going on and helping you understand it. We need that. Obviously, I don't think anyone could interpret me as speaking against that. It's more about putting it in context of if you're going to do that, you have to feed yourself with things that are going to inspire you as well. Because if it's all bad news, it's going to weigh on you, and you're not going to have that energy and that spring in your step. Like people are saying in the chat, it's like, look at these people who are here tonight. You know, we're just doing kind of a short multi-guest stream. But everyone, it's beautiful to see the comments. And I'm sure all of you are like this too. As I said, you know, we just have this certain combination of things in our lives where we're able to show our faces and do this. But all the people here tonight, like you yourself, Sarah, you know, see people are saying, look at this great example of, it just feels so friendly and wholesome. And these are, not that it's all, you know, not in a surface level way, like a Hollywood way, but just more in a, I guess, traditional physiognomy way. It's like these people, you know, they look pretty good. They look happy and healthy. And there is something to that too. That communicates something, how you look.
Yeah.
This is like that kind of thing, that kind of positive charge that you get from good news and community and learning together. That is what's going to put the fuel in your fire. And that's why I can advocate for and ride along with Jason, because even though Jason sometimes can, you know, speaking of like you're not here, but Jason, I love you in that you sometimes, like a warrior, you charge into those dark corners and you address those things. But the bigger context, I know what you're about. The bigger context is you are still just like those old steam engines when they put the coal in to keep the fire, to keep the furnace going, to keep the train going. The engine, what you fan the flames of all the time, are these positive things, are these inspirational elements, of this community and love. Those are the things that are going to keep you going. If you don't have that and you just scroll through Twitter all day and it's just bad news, this, bad news, that, you talk about pacing yourself. If you're just doing that, not the people who are with us all the time, but maybe some people that are new, or maybe you need to pull someone aside. If you know you're someone who's listening to this, but maybe you know some people who do this, and say you have to balance this because we're drowning each other in this bad news and all this bad news porn and this doom documenting, like Jason says. And so I went on a little longer than I thought I would. I apologize. But when you're talking about food, you had me thinking about that, Sarah, because that's another form of food, what we take in on media, and you have to keep it all healthy and balanced.
Yeah, I could not agree more. I everything that you just said resonates very strongly. And I think that what can happen is that when we're spending too much time, as you said, just consuming all of this negative news and just, you know, black pills, for lack of a better word. I know for me, sometimes when I get caught up in that cycle, sometimes I'll kind of look around and I'll think, well, what am I doing? You know, if we're spending all of our time consuming that, what are we doing that's positive or productive or that sort of thing, which is one reason why I very much appreciate so much what White Art Collective is doing. And I feel like it's so important that we cultivate culture as well. And so, you know, that's kind of one reason why Hearth and Helm has taken a break too, is I think that both my co-host and I just kind of needed some time to reflect and kind of make sure that we're keeping our off the internet, you know, our real life and our real relationships, and kind of keeping that as always the top priority. And so, you know, taking some space to kind of reflect. And then, of course, you know, you come out of that space, hopefully with renewal and new inspiration and that sort of thing, keeping that balance, you know. So couldn't relate. I mean, it cannot resonate more. It highly resonates. And yeah, I guess that's about all I had to say about that. But yeah, we got to keep it positive. We got to cultivate culture. I know for myself, I realize, you know, I am a textile artist. I weave and spin and dye yarns with plants and flowers and that sort of thing. And I enjoy it. I've been doing it for years. And it's kind of recently dawned on me that it's time for me to kind of maybe try to squeeze in some study time to take the skills that I have now to the next level, and how there's just so much in this realm of textile design that I have not learned and that I want to learn. And, you know, I'm feeling like I want to kind of dive deeply into learning traditional lace making and maybe recreating some ancient patterns that have been found in some of the burial sites in Europe and this sort of thing. So there's so many things on my to-do list as well. Children's books is top on the list. I've been talking to, I've spoken briefly with a couple of our folks press. There's like Antelope Hill and White People, so we'll see if something happens with that. I have a great illustrator who might want to collaborate with me, and I'm not sure where to start, but it's on the list too. So it's just like we have to keep these I don't know how to say, we need to nurture the culture, cultivate the culture, and make sure that we're taking time, I think, to grow as individuals, to kind of like try to continue reaching our full potential and not get caught up in, I guess, stagnancy, and consuming all this negative, well, I like the term that I think it was Tim used earlier, war porn, for instance. And, in a way, it's sick and sad, but I do think that we can potentially have a tendency to get addicted to seeing the crimes and the bad news and all of the stuff that's like happening, because
it's an addiction.
And we shouldn't need to consume that in order to have our worldview validated, I guess is all I'm saying. It's like once we know what we know it. And
that's a very good way. That's a very good way of saying it. That's a really good way of saying it. I feel that some people get into this cycle where they want to consume that to validate, like, oh yeah, like I'm on the right side because we keep getting attacked. And at some point you have to get off that wheel. Like, okay, I understand that, but I have to fill up my tank, or I'm going to burn out here, or I'm going to go off the rails. I'm not going to be healthy. I'm going to negatively affect the people around me. And I even think there's a more of an esoteric thing going on there. I would imagine our enemies actually want us sharing bad news, because not in a new agey way, but in any way you want to take it, folks. I'm not going to get too deeply into it. I believe, though, that what you focus on, there is a certain reality creating mechanism to what you focus on. And I think they want us focusing on all this stuff. They want us focusing on the fact that it's over, despair, the West is done. Go share another meme, how England's finished, or Germany's finished, or the US is finished. What are you, what is that accomplishing? Or is it a self-fulfilling prophecy at that point?
Right. Like at some point we have to turn it off and say, I need to take my kids camping.
Mm-hmm.
Might have frozen.
I think
we'll see if it pops back through.
That's a good place to freeze.
Oh, there.
Oh no.
Take the kids camping.
You're back. It froze for a minute.
After you said take the kids camping.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That was it. All right. Perfect.
Yeah,
then.
pretty much.
Take the kids camping. Yeah. As somebody who has been trying to bring people to something productive rather than just doom documenting and doom dissecting for several decades, I can definitely understand people getting fed up with more doom documenting, more doom dissecting, having the worst story about what's happening to our people. That's not a healthy place to be. And the issue is, and we'll let Sarah in just a moment give her final thoughts and where everybody can find her. But the issue is, and we can look at it just like this beautiful garden behind Sarah that she's creating there with her family, and a wonderful family in the midst of it. It's the garden of the mind. And the garden has been infected with what we refer to as meme pathogens, and you can think of them as weeds. And it doesn't matter how many good thoughts you put into your brain. If the weeds are still in the garden, things are still poisoned. Things won't be healthy. Things won't grow properly. The garden won't be able to reach its optimal potential. Best case scenario is that we are able to lay something over the garden, if you will, an inoculation against weeds, so that it doesn't matter which weed seeds are blown into the garden, they won't be able to take root, because the soil will recognize them as soon as they come in and will neutralize them. That's best case scenario. That's what we can do for our children by using the lexicon and dialectics of going free, which, as has been showing for a very long time now, destroys the anti-white arguments And even when the anti-whites who are making the arguments call themselves conservatives and Republicans. Boy, this has been fun. But what a magnificent weekend it is. And what a magnificent person Sarah Dye and her family, a lovely husband, they are. And what a great place to be wrapping up this wonderful after party today. Because here we are right in the garden of life, the garden of the mind, the garden of the soul, and keeping it healthy. And family, folks, not just the family that we are immediately related with, the family who lives under the same roof as we do, or at some point did, and whose phone numbers we immediately have, but our extended family, our racial family, that is what and whom we need to be thinking about today, and coming together, having all of us in our thoughts as we come together and hold each other, love each other, and prepare, as we have been for some time now, for those storms, those anti-white storms that we have to deal with. My dear Sarah, final thoughts, and where can folks find you? Right in the garden, Jason.
Well, thank you so much again, guys, for having me on. It's been such a pleasant opportunity to reconnect and chat with you guys. I wish everybody a wonderful Independence Day holiday and weekend. If people want to follow kind of what I'm doing in my neck of the woods, we obviously are Schooner Creek Farm. You can follow us on Twitter, Schooner Creek Farm, as well as Facebook if you're interested in what's happening with, my husband and I and our kids and the veggies that we're growing here. Also, Hearth and Helm is my podcast that my co-host and friend Carissa and I do together. And we are actually going to have our first live stream this coming week, either Tuesday or Wednesday night. It's the first time we've streamed in almost 6 months. So be sure to tune in. If it works out, I'm pretty sure we have a special guest coming on, a fellow homeschool mother who shares our values. And we're going to be talking about something that we feel is really important, which is the effects of screen time and that sort of thing on our children. And we have some interesting facts, and it's going to be a good conversation. So some kind of scary statistics. So if you want to, consume a little bit of black pills, but then get happy and motivated and positive afterwards, come on over and tune in. We stream live on DLive. So Hearth and Helm on Instagram, Twitter, and Telegram. That's definitely our preferred platform. Follow us over there. And I suppose that's pretty much everything.
It goes with what we were saying. Sometimes you have to unplug. It sounds like definitely a worthy topic on the show. And as I was just saying in the chat, please, everyone, there's so many good things being said in the chat. If some of these folks were new to you, our guests who are on tonight, please follow them and sub to them. As Sarah just said, her podcast is Hearth and Helm. We will have all of the links for all of these people who have been on tonight on the afterparty.tv. That's the shared site Jason and I use to document this show, the archives of this show, his going free streams, and then some other projects as well. There's a few years worth of all kinds of shows, audiovisual material there. So we have a little more control over that than we do on social media. So please bookmark our site, Jason's site. I don't think you find me saying on your behalf, Jason is nowhiteguilt.org. Mine is thegreatorder.com. As I was saying earlier, when ForNull was on, getting pretty close. It always takes longer than you think. So getting pretty close to a new song. ForNull was a consultant helping a lot with some sonic, some audio production to make it sound as big and bad as we can make it through your speakers. And then him and I might be we're toying with the idea, we both get happy with it, of eventually doing more of an out-and-out collaboration, him and I together. But as I said, he's always been such a helpful guy, so good with what he does. Everyone here tonight, it's always just amazing to see the good energy and the talent. I have to go take care of a spammer in the chat again. Second time.
I got him.
Got him.
I got him.
But,
All right.
Jason, everyone have a happy, healthy, blessed Independence Day weekend. If you're in the States, if you're not, still have a happy and healthy, blessed weekend, because we all share these things together. And we know we have plenty of people who are not Americans who are staying up late watching this with us. So even though today, of course, this holiday is focused here in the States, our show is always for Westmen around the world. But having said that, Jason, you'll take us out. If there's any more housekeeping or things you need to tell people before we start.
Indeed, I'm gonna let the glorious Sarah go here, right as she mutes. See, she's like, I'm gonna mute right now. Just, you can nod or shake your head, Sarah. Are you a ninja?
No, not really, but I am really good at getting into tight places in the garden and finding hidden produce covered by weeds.
That works.
Yes, you're well on your way to your ninja-hood. Thank you so much for being here, Sarah. I'm going to let you go, and we'll see you next time, okay? All right, bye-bye. All right, what I'm going to do really quick then is I'm going to jump over to our entropy, and going to say that we had the great Mrs. Jess Horst with us earlier, and financially gifting our dear lady $25 US. Please, let's get her a raucous round of emojis in the live chat. She writes here, I enjoy her music so much. Great guest. Talking about Hirith. Thank you so much for that, dear sister. Over here on Cash App, we have the one and only White Student Transmission, financially gifting $15. Thank you so much, dear brother. And he writes, Folk Tithe, hope you all have a happy 4th, and a smiley face with that. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Also here, the one and only Sloths. You know he's got to be there because he's playing the flute, and all of the Vagues are following behind him to the path of going free. Sloths, the one and only. What is it? The lute? The lute.
No, you said he's playing a flute.
Lute? What is he playing then?
No. I'm not seeing the pictures. You said.
Oh, no. It's a reference to the fairy tale.
Oh, I see.
But today,
I didn't pick up on that one quickly enough. I apologize.
No, it's okay. $17.76 from our one and only Sloths. Well done, brother. Nobody else thought to do that. Well done. And here we have, get your raucous emojis together. Machiavelli sucks. Financially gifting $25. Thank you so much, good brother. And writing here, for the central banking finances, their operations. Well, there you go. That's the central bankers, our favorite friends of all. Thank you for that.
Wonderful.
And of course, yes, giving the due to those who run the banking systems. And let's see, a quick refresh. I'll take a look over here. We have just a couple of comments from the great Mestizo, who makes magnificent memes. Make sure you catch them over on Instagram. He writes here, today is also special because it marks the 4-year anniversary of your most popular video, the one where you slaughtered the skeptics. Well, I didn't even know that. Thank you for remembering that. 4 years ago, of course, that was taken down by YouTube after some 70-some thousand views on it, and they disappeared it. It was a fun video, though. I think you could still find it. Where did I post it? It's somewhere still, and I'll post it again. We'll play it again at some point.
Going to see the light of day on Odysee?
Well, would it have? Well, yes, we can upload it there for sure. But no, I think it's off of YouTube altogether. When they deleted the whole thing, what was it, a year later? Mestizo also writes, happy white man's summer. Indeed, it is a happy white man. That's what we're doing. We're having a white man's summer. Quite a bit different from the white boy summer. Quebec, financially gifting. Get your raucous emojis out, folks. Shake them up, throw them on the floor. $50 US. God bless you, brother. What a great champion. Always showing up when you wonder where, the moment you wonder where Quebec is, he immediately shows up and is doing something magnificent for White Wellbeing. So cheers. Thank you so much, my dear friend. Another refresh, and Quebec, we are going to.
Quebec's been with us since the beginning.
Since the beginning. A great hero in service to White Wellbeing. one of the, talk about early adopters, one of the earliest of adopters. And for all of those who are brand new, we have many new people to the channel since our interaction with that anti-white who calls herself a conservative. Welcome to you all. The lexicon and dialectics are very simple. Fewer new words than you had to learn for your job, or maybe even a new city that you moved to. Far fewer than that. You'll be able to pick it right up, and then you'll be able to have the great success that we have had and for decades. And remember too that even if you see yourself as a couple decades late, you'll still be a very early adopter once this lexicon begins making its way out to the tens and hundreds of millions of our brothers and sisters around the world. You'll be able to say, I was there when it was still just thousands. Very few will be able to say that. This has been a magnificent tap, as they all are, but this this tap with all of you here for this Independence Day has been a heck of a lot of fun. And we have Mr. George and my new co-host right here. He'll be joining us just for probably just this show, because his attire is sort of specific. But nonetheless, it was a heck of a lot of fun. I want to thank Ray, our intrepid moderator, for moderating, as always, of his own volition, of his own time, of his own will, a gift to all of us on this Independence Day. So thank you so much, Ray and Heidi, and big thank you to all of you who were here with us today, those who commented, those who financially gifted, and those who were just wallflowers. We appreciate every one of you. Before we wrap it completely up, I want to say that I would like you all to send your positive energy and pray to the good Lord for Fraulein Dresden, who has told us that she is in the hospital, diagnosed with liver cancer, and our heart goes out to her. Our love goes out to her. This is a wonderful woman who means so very much to me and to this entire community. Think of her this weekend. Pray for her this weekend when you're with your family, or even if you're one of those out there who's got to be by yourself. Think of Fraulein, and she's in the hospital right now, in her hospital bed, and waiting to get the instructions about what they'll be doing next, what they have to do to preserve her life. So think of her this weekend. Maybe set off some fireworks just for her if you have them. Also, I want to mention, do not forget that we have coming up in this month on the 10th, Dixie Fest is taking place in South Carolina, and I will get the name of the city and location in South Carolina. I'll have it by Sunday for everybody. And if you can attend, then do come on over. There are going to be thousands of people at Dixie Fest, and there'll be several bands over the course of the day. There'll be one of these moon bounce things for the children, and those wild adults when it's Adult Swim, I guess. I don't know. There'll be
adult bounce.
There'll be food, there'll be laughter, and there'll even be a live radio show, Political Cesspool, and yours truly will be co-hosting. Been listening to the Political Cesspool forever, and I will now be co-hosting with the one and only James Edwards for an audience of probably several hundred for that. And I am a speaker. The the wonderful gentleman who is responsible for Dixie Fest has decided to have speakers starting with history speakers at the beginning of the day, and then toward the middle of the day it'll be speakers talking about the present day, and then at the end of the day it will be me talking about the future. So that tells you what this magnificent gentleman, what he thinks about what we're doing here in service to white well-being. So Dixie Fest, ladies and gentlemen, forget about all those other conferences you went to and all those rallies you went to where you had 110 show up or 150 show up. We're going to have several thousand present, and we hope that you can participate if you are somewhere near. One more quick refresh over here, Mr. George, and I believe you said all of your goodbyes. We will wrap it up here and get back to work in service of White Wellbeing. And I just heard some fireworks outside, so you know it's getting dusky outside here in the once great state of Virginia. I don't know why I always speak for the whole state. I'm talking at the beginning of the show. I'm talking about the camera, the trail camera, and I'm like, we have some. I guess I feel like I'm the last person that can legitimately represent the state. Everybody else now are just traitors, I think.
That might be true. That might be true.
Yeah, maybe so. But it's a heck of a lot of fun, folks. And today I thoroughly enjoyed it. Love Mr. George, and much love to your family as well, brother. And to everyone out there, remember, all of our brothers and sisters, even if you're in Estonia, you're one of our beautiful brothers and sisters over there in Estonia, and your lovely voices, and Australia, New Zealand, Poland, Greece, Germany, Sweden, Norway, Canada, wherever you live, the independence of that we celebrate on the 4th in the United States can no longer be accurately said to be an independence of the United States from the crown of the UK, and now is our independence on a global scale from anti-whiteism. That's the true battle, and that's what we are winning here in service to White Wellbeing. God bless you all. Love you all. Much love to Fraulein Dresden, and we will see you all